Today's show, as always, sponsored by LivasaIslandApparel.com for gear that represents the South Pacific Island languages and cultures accurately and responsibly. Put on for the culture. Catch the wave at LivasaIslandApparel.com. Welcome, everyone, to episode 114 of the Ballinesian podcast. Two Samoans talking about sports. We have a little bit Memorial Day catch up. We have discussing the NBA Finals that is about to be upon us. And we're also going to be talking about the Chargers and the Raiders and what a perfect start to the season looks like in our fan world. So definitely stay tuned. We got a lot for you here on the Ballinesian podcast, sponsored by Livasa Island Apparel. Definitely check out Brother Uri and Livasa online. The website, www.livasaislandapparel.com, or on Instagram at le_vasa. Definitely peep what they have in the catalog before they head up here to the Pacific Northwest. Going to be hitting the 4 Days of Aloha Festival put on by the Kikui Kui Foundation here in Vancouver, Washington. End of July at Esther Short Park, where it always is. Vendors, food vendors, art, clothing, music, dancing, definitely everything there at the 4 Days of Aloha. Looking forward to seeing you guys there and seeing you guys connect with Brother Uri, Brother Va at the Levasa Island Apparel tent there at 4 Days of Aloha. I'm Lance Faltongo. Brother Forrest, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, you know me, man. I could, yeah. Yeah, that's much like that's been life pretty much. Nah, I'm good, man. Nothing I can't complain about.
Summertime.
Ooh, hey, man, it's one thing about living out here. Like Memorial Day, you think about Memorial Day, and you grew up back home. You think about honestly doing vows, like
Yep.
cleaning up graves, you're cutting grass, just making things look really, really pretty in respect to basically the people who passed on, the people who served, who passed on. I know it's not Veterans Day, but Memorial Day, so we look to honor those who did serve in the military. I know back home it's pretty big, so we memorialize those folks.
Veterans Day is people who have served in the Army, given
Who have
like they goes
served.
to veterans. And
Right.
then Memorial Day is mostly for military personnel that have passed away.
Passed. That's my understanding.
Remembering them, right? Okay.
Yeah. So that's and then, but back home, even if it's not, if they didn't serve, like if you, so back home for people who haven't been to American Samoa or just South Pacific, we do bury our loved ones in our own yard, on our own land, because a lot of us own land back home. There are graveyards you can take your loved ones to be rested at, but a lot of us, we have our loved ones rested on our own land, right next to our houses. I know for some people who go back home for the first time, it's like, there's a grave in your yard.
Oh yeah, hey, go around the corner. There's 12 more. Right, we just got to keep them on the side.
We had to find a place for my grandma, and that was the only spot. We go around front. There's like 6 more. So yeah. But I mean, so we end up cleaning all the graves that are around the house, or pretty much anywhere, and almost all the families are doing that. So that's what that means to us back home. Out here, it's a little bit more. They have events to memorialize people who have passed on during the wars, or just people who were in service for us in the military out here. So yeah, they have. I don't know. Hey, people drink a lot of beer out here on Memorial Day.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those summer drinking holidays.
Right.
Yeah. Barbecue. Right. Did you barbecue? What did you do for Memorial Day?
What did we do? No, we didn't barbecue. Chill. Yeah, we just kind of chilled at the house, and we did a little yard work. Kind of tried to keep it towards what you do back home. So mowed the lawn a little bit, hung out in the backyard. I had a book. I had nice. What did I have? A book, a Coke, and a beautiful lawn out here backyard, my sister's backyard. So I
Nice.
just chilled out here. Yeah, read most of the afternoon. So you know, and then looked at a lot of the people who back home are watching videos back home of people just cleaning up and getting the island nice and beautiful for Memorial Day. Or
Mhm.
watched a lot of people barbecue online back home. Watched their watched their barbecue.
Send me a plate.
Yeah, did a lot of watching of the barbecues. Sucks, but yeah, it was chill. It was pretty chill. What'd you guys do for Memorial Day?
uh, we went down. We drove down to Enchanted Forest. It's a little
Uh,
storybook theme park down south of Salem, here in Oregon. It's like the local Disneyland. You know what I'm
it's
saying?
I didn't know it's is it Alice in Wonderland that they do?
They got Alice in Wonderland. They've got different little exhibits along this
Oh,
like
okay.
storybook lane that you walk through. Humpty
That's
Dumpty,
fire.
Jack and Jill, the lady in the shoe, the freaking there's like witches, and it's kind of spooky. It's kind of this. It's one guy hand painted and made all these things like to have like a local Disneyland or theme park. And people love it. And Sammy, she grew up down there in Salem, so she's like knowing of it since she was a kid. So we got to take our kid for the first time. We've gone on dates down there and like ride the rides and play the games. And I finally beat her in the freaking Age of Mordor game. It's like their Buzz Lightyear shoot 'em up laser game. But like the last three times we went, I always get a janky gun. But this time,
Oh yeah, the Jakey gun, huh?
this time my laser gun was working.
Hey man, just in future reference for the guy who built it, I don't think you want to describe it as it's just some one guy who painted some stuff and sounds is it sounds a little creepy when you say it like that. Like it
Yeah,
might be
children, come and
right.
check out the
Come
Jack and
on,
Jill.
shit. Right.
Come on. Uh, yeah, but it's a fun little park. We went down there for a couple hours and just like let her run around and see a bunch of stuff. Geppetto's workshop, ferries. Yeah. So next time we're gonna go on the log ride and the roller coasters, but she was I think just short enough that she couldn't go on most of the big rides.
Oh
But
man.
she got to go on the train and the Ferris wheel and some other stuff. Shout out to Sammy for going in the Ferris wheel for with her because that shit was I wasn't doing it. Yeah. Anyways, that was Memorial Day. Memorial Day is like the beginning of the summer for everybody. I know July 4th
Um
also was kind of like that.
yeah, it's supposed to be, but you know what? I'm in the backyard right now and I'm still freezing my ass off here
Is
in
it
the
cold?
BMW. It's cold. The wind's blowing, the sun's out. Don't get me wrong, a little deceiving because it's a beautiful afternoon right now. Like it's really pretty right now, but it's kind of cold, just a little bit, just a little bit. And I yeah, so I heard you guys took Nora to where Sammy grew up as a kid, to
Mhm.
one of those places. And like we were talking to, man, you got to take her to Carson though, so she can get something from Ted's Burgers, man.
Yeah, Tom's,
Oh,
freaking.
Jesus.
Where's these chili cheese fries? One time I was flying through LA and my sister literally brought me chili cheese fries to the airport. Just like got them to me and we hung out for a little bit in between flights. But yeah, the chili cheese fries at Tom's. Whew.
That's fire.
Uh yeah. Memorial Day, shout out to all those who have served and like given to our country and paid the ultimate sacrifice and price, and to their family members who remember them this weekend and always. Shout out to y'all and the reason for Memorial Day.
Yes, sir.
Another thing that we were doing was watching some of these basketball games, man. NBA playoffs is to a point in the conference finals where they alternate between ESPN, ABC, and TNT. Like the Western Conference Finals is on what, TNT, or in the Eastern is on
TNT. Yeah.
ABC. But they're like doing it every other day. There's only one game a night, sometimes one game every 2 nights.
Hey, well,
So
I
it's
mean,
starting to slow down.
there's one
Easier to
team you can't
watch.
watch anymore. You can't watch the Indiana Pacers anymore because they were swept. They were swept. They weren't quite as scrappy as they thought they were.
Yeah.
So, uh, yeah, sucks for them. If you're a Pacers fan, sucks for you too. I don't know how you didn't see it coming though. Um,
When we were talking about this before the series started, you were talking about how the Pacers were really good. They had a lot of good players, a lot of promising players. Miles Turner, defense, 3-pointers. Pascal Siakam, Halliburton, who ended up getting hurt. And then when I asked you, do you think they got a chance then against the Celtics? He's like, hell no. But you gave them 2 games, which was nice. They ended up getting clean swept.
yeah, they didn't even smell the NBA finals. They nope. Um,
Walked over.
Man, Brown had an amazing series, which he was awarded with the MVP of the uh, conference finals. So good for him. And then I've seen a lot of these
Jaylen
old.
Brown?
Yeah, he got the MVP for the series,
Oh,
the
wow.
conference finals. Yeah,
I didn't know they gave out those for the conference finals.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
participation award. Not just kidding. I'm pretty sure he gets some fat bonus that comes with it from the NBA, or a car, one of those things. But also, yeah, they gave it to him, and then all these old narratives started popping up about when he was going into the NBA. A lot of people were like, "He's not going to make it because he's too smart for the NBA," which he was. The kid went to Cal Berkeley for college. Which I always think it's weird when things like that come back up. Like, probably like 2 people thought he was too smart for the NBA, and then the rest saw him the way he was dunking over kids in high school and dominating. Because I think he was literally the number 1 player in high school coming out of high school this year. So weird stuff. I always think that's so weird. I'm not just bringing that up because he's the MVP of the finals. But if you didn't have the Celtics beating the Pacers in the conference finals, God bless your soul, because yeah, no, they're Celtics look like they're on a mission this year. I know we say that a lot about a lot of teams that every year, there's a couple teams that they look like they're on a mission this year.
Mhm.
Well, Boston just looks like they're ready to finish what they haven't been able to do the last couple of playoffs that they've been to. So, they look good. They look good. They got 2 of the better forwards, I guess, wing players in the NBA right now in the league, and it's gonna be cool to see Tatum back in the finals. I'm really hoping he gets one. I know he's still young, but I think it's about time he gets one. It'll be nice. Uh, you know who's not happy that the Celtics are in the playoffs? Laker fans. I
We have faith. We
I
have
see.
we have faith in Luca.
Oh, I've seen the post already. I've seen one by a very good friend of mine, Valerie Sasa. She's a big Lakers fan. She balls too. She can hoop. She was like, "Look, I don't care right now who wins the Western Conference Finals, as long as that team beats the Celtics."
Yeah, as long as you go do what
Right,
you need
right.
to do.
Yeah, I've seen someone say, "Yeah, if whoever comes out of the West, if you don't stop the Celtics from winning that, is it going to be their 19th championship?"
I think so,
It,
right? They got one more than
yeah,
the Lakers,
yeah,
17, 18, going for their
yeah.
19th. Who?
They were they were saying you can't come back to the Western Conference.
Yeah, you stay your ass over there.
Oh
Stay in New
man.
England. Who are the Boston Celtic fans that you know?
Oh man. My
Not
very good friend, one of my
like
very good
real, like
friends,
the real ones, right? The real ones, yeah.
Toonie Tao Iti, he's a Boston
Hey,
fan.
hey, nice.
Uh, Tonga, the Toonie Austin, he's a really big um Celtics fan. Shane Ping, I shout out my guy Shane Ping because he takes a lot of shit from us every playoffs because he's a big Celtics fan. Who else do we got? I know a lot of my cousins. Some of my cousins, not a lot. Sorry, I'm lying because a lot of my cousins are Lakers fans. Because I rub it in every year. They don't make it to the playoffs. Yeah, I got a few family members who are Boston fans, but yeah, Shane for sure, Tonga and Tooney are three of the bigger Boston Celtic fans that I know from back home. Yeah.
John Love,
Oh man,
Celtics
wow.
fan. Dalton Hughes out there in Eastern Oregon. He's a
Nice.
big Celtics fan. His daughter's name is Tatum.
I
Yeah,
like it. I
big
like
time. Shout out to Tater Tots. Pearl, do you remember Pearl? I forget Pearl's last name. I think she was a Celtics fan. And it was hard to be a Celtics fan in Samoa. Like you had to really be a fan.
it.
I mean,
Is. And
2008, I guess they had the, uh, a title run with the big three, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and
hey,
them,
look,
Ray
I won't
Allen.
lie. I'm a really big Chicago fan, but when the Celtics made that run, I was a Celtics fan that playoffs. One because Ray Allen is my ultimate favorite player of all time.
Nice.
So I just love seeing him win a championship. And two, Kevin Garnett is my number one power forward of all time. So seeing those two guys win the championship was crazy fun. Though that playoffs, all those games, those were battles.
That was like the end, towards the end of their careers, right? I mean, I guess
Right,
they
right.
ended up going to
I
Brooklyn, but that was like end of
probably
their
no
prime.
that was their prime. That was their prime. They had someone who was a phenomenal basketball player, but a shitty human being, Paul Pierce. He's
Wait, what do you
funny that
mean?
his nickname is the truth when he ain't nothing but a big ass lie. Anyway, uh, uh, Paul Pierce can play some ball. I won't lie. Uh, Amazing guy out of Inglewood, California.
Hey,
He got a championship, and he was rewarded. One of the guys who stayed loyal to the team. Like he stuck it out with Boston.
mm,
He went through some bad years. You know how Kobe had that Smush Parker team that he was on, Robert Sacra. Uh, those guys. Yeah, Paul Pierce had I think at least 3 seasons with guys who
yeah,
were good enough for the NBA, but you knew they just weren't good enough to win the championship, and you can see it. So he stuck it out. I gave it to him. He deserved that championship when they got there, and it was crazy because uh, you've seen like Power Three teams before. I guess they just weren't as advertised, but I think Boston was the beginning of the first big three in this era.
yeah, yeah,
Or leading into this era, they were the first big three. And it showed that you could have three guys who usually dominate the ball or were at least number ones on their old teams come together and win the championship. And a lot of people have been trying to replicate that success since then. But again, like the teams now that are playing in the playoffs and the way they played, you can have a big three, but it's also your supporting cast that really catapults you to the championship.
yep,
Like they had Rondo. I don't know if people remember Leon Poe.
yeah.
They had Big Baby out there. Nate Robinson. Just yeah, I know that's a sad story right now. We won't talk about him. He's got some problems he's gonna have to work through in life.
Rod.
Uh, yeah, man. Yeah, but they had man James Posey. I don't know if people remember
Oh
James Posey.
man, was Tony Allen
Man,
on that team, or was he still on Memphis?
Tony
Ugh,
Allen, man,
that was
those
tough.
role players, that's
Like a
crazy.
mean team.
Yeah,
Like they
that's what I'm
don't let
saying.
you do what you want to do. They
Yeah,
freaking D you
and
up, force you to play in a
uh,
box. Ugh.
Posey was one of those guys who they refer to now in the league as 3-and-D guys. He could hit the three on the offensive
Oh, okay.
and come back and lock you up on the defensive.
Mhm.
He and his shooting, like the way they used him, was almost kind of like how the championship Lakers used Robert Ory. just
Wow.
corner threes, big shots.
Big
He was there to hit
moments.
them. Yeah, but he really played D also. So yeah, those teams. And like now, you look at Boston. Boston's really good with Tatum and Brown, but they still have guys who have stayed in. And one comes to mind when you think of Horford. He's been with the Celtics for a while now. He's moved around the league, but
Yeah.
he's been with the Celtics for a few years now, and now he's back in the finals. So championship basketball for him again. They got guys like Peyton Pritchard, who a lot of people were just like, he's gonna be cool in the NBA. He's gonna be able to stick it out, but he won't do much. Got to Boston, and he's actually one of the key guys in Boston, not just off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's been starting lately. So yeah. Um,
The C's back in the finals.
yeah, back in the finals. Great to see. Same thing. If you're watching the finals now, a lot of those guys you've probably never really seen play on the regular. There's guys on both sides of the ball right now for Dallas and what's the other team? Dallas and Minnesota. Guys who, yeah, again,
Speaking of
who aren't
which,
household names, or who weren't household names before. Role player Daniel Gafford, who was a Chicago Bull. He was also a Wizard. He's now with the Dallas. I'm gonna say Cowboys. The Dallas Mavericks. He's a key part in that team. Um, who else? Their forward, who also played for the Bulls at one time.
PJ
Jones,
Washington,
Jones
Derek
Jr.
Jones Jr.,
Yeah,
airplane mode.
he
Jeez.
yeah, exactly. He's there. He's playing excellent too, doing what he has to do for them. Again, you named PJ Washington. PJ Washington's there. He was with Charlotte. He did a lot of things for Charlotte, and now he's out here with Dallas, just working real hard. And then on the other side, you have Jaden Daniels, who coming out of high school was I think he was like rated top 5. Shout out to Federal Way High School where he went to. I got to see him play a couple of
Hey,
games.
nice.
Yeah, yeah, just really great guy. Man. And Dallas still, I shout out to Dante Exum. Uh, Came into the league, was supposed to just be that, almost like they expected him to be a Magic Johnson type of point guard. He's bigger. He's about 6'6", and I think they really expected him to come in and just like tear the league up as a pure point guard. Didn't work out. Had a couple injuries. Just game didn't really work out that way. But here he is helping Dallas come back after all that scrutiny. He's playing really well for the Mavericks, along with his fellow Australian Josh Green out of the University of Arizona, carving a niche for himself and helping Mavericks right now with a 3-0 lead, hoping to finish it off here today against Minnesota Timberwolves. So yeah, role
I think
players.
the
Good to
Timberwolves are gonna win this game. But Dallas would still be up 3-1. We're assuming the Dallas Mavericks are going to win one of the next 3 games to advance to the NBA Finals to beat the Celtics. Before we
Yes.
talk football, if it's Mavericks versus Celtics, who do you have? How many games?
Uh, if I'm talking with my heart, I'm saying Dallas because who wouldn't want to see Kyrie beat Boston after all the talk that he had to endure while he was in Boston, the way they did him out there. And I mean, I think one of your lasting memories, if you're a Kyrie Irving fan, is him flipping off the crowd and the crowd flipping him off. So that would
Dang,
be a
forgot about
story.
that.
That would be a great story if he could do that. As a as a smart guy and a player and a coach and everything, Boston does have a lot of things going for them. They just look like they're carrying a lot of momentum going into the finals. They get to rest a little bit more now, with Minnesota looking like they're about to win this game. So it gives them at least another couple of days of rest. So they've got a lot of things going for them right now, and they're kind of talented on that end of the court, on their side of the court. So, your smart money says Dallas. I mean, Boston. Sorry, my heart says Kyrie. So we'll see.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know if if Boston is the like that tough enough team that's gone through it, but I feel like they are. Drew Holiday, right, for the Celtics, like players like that.
Man, how did I not mention him? But Drew Holiday, just crazy that he gets to come over there. I mean, he won one already with Milwaukee, and then just all the stuff that he went through too with his wife, his family, the hardships they've been going through and they've overcome, and stayed. He just stayed Drew Holiday, played solid ball. Never out there in the media or anything like that on anything negative. Not that he's perfect or anything like that. Just that's solid, pretty solid. And then for him to play out like that, that last what, like a minute of the game where he was amazing in that game, locking up, making that last steal on the other side to seal the game. So yeah, shout out to Drew Holiday, man. Real professional, real great player. So good to see him back in the finals too.
I forget that he's moved around a lot, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like that'd be a lot. That's going to be a good matchup: Celtics versus Mavericks.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
let's see it. All right, our final topic for this episode. It's that time of the season in the NFL where nothing's happened yet. Nothing bad's happened yet, really. We've got all the pieces added to this year's team. We've signed a bunch of free agents. We've got the new coaches in. And now is the time where we hope and like it visualize everything going right, before it all crashes in week one or whatever happens in the first couple of weeks. But now is the time that people really envision their team, everything clicking on all cylinders, everything going smoothly, none of the bumps that we know inevitably are going to show up, whether it be poor play, you know, the schedule, coaching, relationships, something's going to go awry during the season. But at this point, we can project some of the easiest, most comfortable, most exciting, most homer type stuff, that we can really see for our teams. Um, Chargers and Raiders both have new coaches, new staff. Definitely got in some new rookies.
Ours is better.
I think ours are better. But let's talk about it. For you, a perfect start to the season for the Raiders. The vibes are right. The depth chart is, the right way. Things are happening on the field. Paint a picture for us. What does that look like for the Raiders?
Oh, I don't really have to pay much because we're perfect right now.
Exactly, right now.
Nah. Going into the season right now, it's I think what the Raiders are looking to do or wanting to have happen is one, first settling at quarterback, because right now it's said that it's a quarterback battle, and going into OTAs, actually just going into the offseason, AP had already said that it would be Aiden O'Connell's job to battle for. He's not just going to hand it to him, of course. Not just handing it over to the newly signed Gardner Minshew as well. So they just what they are gonna want to do is first of all settle at a quarterback. Going into preseason games or just going into the summer camp, they're gonna want to settle on a quarterback first. It's looking like right now it's gonna be Minshew, but there are reports coming out of OTAs that Aiden O'Connell looks pretty good. He was developing, and if there's anything to say about Aiden O'Connell, he got a lot of experience last year. A lot of guys talk about, wait, sometimes these quarterbacks don't have enough experience, no starting experience. They don't have any real game time. Well, Aiden O'Connell got a lot of that last year. It wasn't all great and it wasn't all bad, but he's had a whole offseason now to prepare like he's going to be the starter, or at least to fight for being a starter. So I think he's probably made a lot of strides because he looks like one of those guys that studies. tries to get into the gym, just to be prepared for the next season. So yeah, but Gardner Minshew also is a proven professional. He's won in the places he's been at, Indianapolis, Jacksonville. He's been a starter in those places as well. He's won games. He hasn't been like, I don't think you'd say he's exactly like the top 10 of quarterbacks in that tier, but I think he's somewhere along the lines of maybe top 15. I would put him there. Yeah, maybe just a little bit outside of that, but yeah. What? Hey, don't laugh, man. You can laugh because your quarterback is Justin Herbert. So I mean,
yeah, this is one of the positions I can laugh when comparing between the Chargers and the Raiders. Justin Herbert versus Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. Some of the stats: Aiden O'Connell started 11 games, threw for 12 touchdowns. Right. Gardner Minshew started 17 games for the Colts last year, threw for 15 touchdowns. So Aiden O'Connell might be the higher scoring quarterback, but he looks like the more erratic, not really sure of what you're going to get. Gardner Minshew at least has, tape of what he looks like when Minshew magic is happening. But for the perfect Raider season, which one of these guys would you rather have take over and playing like their best football? Because you're going to have to do better than 18, 12, 15 touchdowns though, right? So which one of them do you want to be the one 25, 30 touchdown season?
The one that's going to help the team win. Either one.
No, you pick one. You're the GM. You're Tom Telesco.
This is the honest to God truth. The first one that looks like he's going to be able to manage games during the season, and I know just the bad publicity that came with that term or moniker for quarterbacks after Cam Newton said that about Brock Purdy. Again, trying to explain to people that he didn't mean it. Yeah. But what that means is they're going to do the things that they need to do for the team to win. And like you said 14 touchdowns, 15 touchdowns, or 18 touchdowns during the season isn't going to do it. You know what? If that's what's going to help the team win, if that's all they need to do, throw those 18 and 1 interception in the season and get them somewhere, I'll take that, because the Raiders right now are built to be a running system.
Okay. So that means that the running is going to be going off and scoring 20, 30 touchdowns between those guys.
No, the running game is going to help. It's going to help open up things for the rest of the offense. So you're going to lead with the run, and it's going to, just like last year, they explained they needed Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs was and still is top 5 running backs in the league. And the way he did it was he was able to open up things for the offense. It opened up play action. It opened up the deeper routes, because you had to stack the box to stop Josh Jacobs. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do that last year because 1, he was holding out. 2, he was oft injured. By the way, he's injured right now in the beginning of OTAs.
Are you not taking Josh Jacobs in fantasy? Are you taking Josh Jacobs in fantasy?
Probably not.
Okay.
He's on a different team. It's going to be, I don't know how they're going to use him.
Yeah. I think that's the question. Like, are they going to Aaron Jones him in Green Bay?
Right.
And like have AJ Dillon take away carries? Or is Josh Jacobs going to be allow the Packers to have like a number 1 guy that they can actually just funnel everything through?
Exactly.
But for the Raiders, so what does that running game look like if you got 2 quarterbacks who don't have a super high ceiling? What the running game's going crazy then, right?
If in terms of carries, yes, and it's going to be, I think right now to start the season, it's going to be I think a equally shared load, because Zeus is coming in. He had a couple good games late in the season, so that we saw White. Zamir White, Zeus. We saw a little bit of that towards the end of the season, enough to be excited that Josh Jacobs is gone. You're sad about that, but enough to be excited that he's there and he might be able to carry the load this year. But they also went out and picked up Alexander Madison from Minnesota.
I don't like it.
So when Cook left or when he went down, they were expecting Madison to take over that number one spot,
Right.
not do exactly what Cook did, but be better than he was last year. But look, he wasn't that guy to be the number one back. You know what he was? He was a guy who shared the backfield with Cook. And that's exactly what they're going to look for him to do in Las Vegas. He won't have to be the number one guy. He won't have that pressure anymore. And he can go in there and do what he's supposed to do, like he was doing when he was backing up Cook or sharing the load with Cook. So I think it's a much better situation for him,
Mhm.
and I think we can expect a lot better season than he did last year, which wasn't too bad of a season either, for someone who wasn't a starter at first. They also picked up a running back that a lot of people are talking about. It's hard to gauge how honest and how true some of the reports are because again, I follow the Raider report and a lot of other guys who do um who report on the Raiders. So like you're hearing from them and you want to be excited, but then again, you're like, well, it's coming from someone who's supposed to be reporting on the Raiders. How biased are they? But they drafted a guy late in the sheesh, I forgot what round they drafted him. A guy by the name of Dylan Lowry. And the comparisons are pretty lofty. I'll tell you that. The first one I
What
heard
were the
was
two names? What were the two names you said that
Austin
compared them
Eckler and CMC. Of course, I know those are just
to?
like comparisons. They people who say this stuff don't expect him to come out and be Austin Eckler and CMC right away. But I think what they're saying is they can see the potential of him turning into one of those guys. Um, then you go and look at his career in college, and a lot of his yards were catches, and not
Okay.
just not just
The
yards after
Alexander
catch.
Madison rule.
Yes, uh, pretty much. So I mean, if that doesn't work, then they can use him there. But he's been a really good receiving back, and not one of those guys who just catch and run after the catch, not those yards. Like he's catching like over the shoulder balls down the field, running actual receiver routes down the field from out the
Yeah.
backfield.
Sixth round
Uh,
pick.
6th round pick. He looks good on the ground, you know. So for me, my explanation for those comparisons are just the way he's able to catch out of the backfield and be a weapon more than just something running the ball. So I'm excited about it just to see what he can do. Again, it's just OTAs. Even in live practice for them, you're playing against guys that are on your team. So I think those three guys are going to be looked upon to carry the load that Josh Jacobs left behind because
Sure.
he was, yeah. I think Josh Jacobs also for his last two healthy seasons averaged the most carries in the league attempts. So yeah, um, and if I had to answer, I would want Gardner Minshew to start the year because I think he's a more poised quarterback at this time in his career. And the game managing stuff that I was just talking about, I think he's better equipped right now to manage that. I think he knows when to dump the ball off, when to get rid of it, without having to throw it downfield or try something extra. I think Aiden O'Connell is young right now, and I think anytime he goes out there, he's gonna want to win the game on one throw. So yeah. To answer your question, for me, what it looks like is Gardner Minshew coming in and just running the team, managing the team well enough to win games, well enough to keep the defense off the field when they're tired and put up points. Doesn't have to go out there and throw 7 touchdowns a game. I mean, 4 would be cool. Uh, but he's got to go out there and again, like I was saying, match the defense because right now the Raiders are high on their defense. Um, they were good again last year as soon as um, Antonio Pierce took over. The defense responded well. I think they responded way better than anybody expected. Jack Jones turned into a late season star. Max Crosby was doing what Max Crosby did. Um, Yeah, just Adam Butler came on, who played in the middle of the field. Spillane, who, if you ask a lot of people, was probably like a steal last year because no one was really looking
Yeah.
to sign Robert Spillane, and he played just amazing for those guys last year. So yeah, I mean, I think maybe the weakest part of that defense is going to be their defensive backfield, but they're working through it. They got Jack Jones, they got Nate Hobbs, who's one of the better slot cornerbacks in the league. So I think they might look to get a veteran on the end. They still got guys like Stephon Gilmore, who hasn't signed anywhere yet, Adoree Jackson. So they've got options maybe for a late signing, which is crazy because they still have $18.4 million in cap space. And then once June 2nd passes, they get all the Jimmy G money for releasing Jimmy G early. They get that money back. And I think by June 2nd, they should have about $42.5 million left in cap room. So that's going to be really great to just like
that's in 5 days.
That's in 5 days. So
wow. Okay.
For Raiders fans who were asking how come they haven't really made any moves yet, that's what they're probably waiting on, and that way they can really see and offer people the money that they need. So yeah. Again, what it looks like for the Raiders to have a really good start going into the season, so everything lines up before the season actually starts, is Gardner Minshew solidifying himself as a starting quarterback. For them to shore up everything in the defensive backfield, that seems they're good. They need one more piece maybe. For the O-line to also settle on position-wise, they signed a couple of guys. I think Dylan Parham is moving to the right side of the field now, right guard instead of left guard. And I think they're going to play Andres Pete maybe as a right guard or the left guard. Sorry. So that's what that looks like. And for AP to come out, and he's been a really good, I don't want to just say like motivational guy, because he's a lot more than that. And what he needs now to do is come out and capitalize on how the teams responded to his coaching, to his leadership. And that means getting his coaching staff right for the season. It's a big season for Patrick Graham because he decided to stay. He could have gone somewhere else and made probably more money because, again, the last half of the season, the defensive side of the ball, they really played up, and they made Patrick Graham kind of look like a genius, and Antonio Graham looked like the great coach that he is going to be, without ever having coached, being a head coach. So yeah.
Who's Graham?
Is that Patrick Graham, defensive coordinator?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So Graham.
Yeah, no, sorry. But yeah, so Minshew at the quarterback, solidifying his spot. Defensive backfield, staying healthy, either signing someone who they're gonna start on the outside, or for Jacorian Bennett to step up and play that outside spot, so they don't have to sign anybody, and him just building upon the hype and the potential that he had last year. And then for the defensive line to wreak havoc like everybody expects them to do, with the addition of Christian Wilkins.
Perfect. Yeah, I think definitely getting a big production right off the bat out of Christian Wilkins is going to make the head coach and GM look smart. It's also going to unlock Max Crosby even more.
Definitely.
They're going to free each other up a lot. If you can get Tyree Wilson on the other side generating pressure, that's tough 3-4 guys to block just in the front four.
Yeah.
And then your linebackers, safety show up, you fix your DBs, maybe sign somebody here soon. And then your offense. I feel like, especially, I don't know what's going to happen with Devontae Adams next season, like if they're just going to let him walk. And if this is his last season in Las Vegas as a Raider, Gardner Minshew is what you're going to give him. I mean, if that's what you're going to give him, then it needs to be like funnel the wide receivers, Devontae in particular, who is still, a big number one wide receiver. And then, like you said, if the running backs can, start producing too, Zeus, Zamir White, Dowell, Lowby,
yeah, Dylan Lowby,
and then Alexander Madison, all give you that committee that's gonna raise the floor. I just feel like it's low floors, kind of low ceiling for Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. But if you funnel it towards a superstar like Devontae Adams, then that's when it can,
I mean, yeah,
Devontae
no,
can make everyone else look good, kind of get the vibes right, especially early. You guys got the Chargers is a division game to start the season.
that's a dub.
Denver in week 5, a bunch of AFC North teams to start the season. The Ravens in week 2 is going to be tough, but if you get like big performances and eke out some wins, then it's like momentum, ball is rolling.
Definitely. I mentioned Patrick Graham as a defensive coordinator only because he's been with the Raiders for long, but Getsy also is going to be very important right now to what the Raiders do because I mean, just the controversy with how they were looking for their offensive coordinator with that fool out there in Washington agreeing to terms with the Raiders and then saying he doesn't want to, and then decided to go over to Washington and be their offensive coordinator. We won't mention his name. But and then them going after Luke Getsy, and him having trouble with Justin Fields, like everybody kind of just said they weren't getting along. That was a big part of the problem. And just how their offense I mean, they look good in spurts, but they didn't look that great. And now he's out here. But again, Luke Getsy gets, like you just named, Devontae Adams. He gets Jacoby Myers. He gets Michael Mayer. And now he gets Brock Bowers. So definitely there's a lot of talent around whoever's going to be the quarterback. And like you said, they're really going to have to reach into a bag with the quarterback, and he's going to have to really, really, really make use of the weapons he has around him, or nothing's really going to work. So, and that also depends on the plan that Luke Getsy puts out for them, because he is the offensive coordinator. So he's got a lot of weapons around him. He's got to be creative in ways to put Bowers and Meyer out there at the same time and create mismatches for them. At the same time,
I forgot about the tight ends.
Yeah, at the same time, like you said, Devontae Adams is still top 5 receivers in the league, and you're gonna have to treat him as such. He's gonna need his touches. He's gonna want his touches. So yeah, definitely agree with what you're saying.
Nice.
I also do expect to win that first game of the season. That's
I mean, yeah, everyone believes the best right now in their teams.
Like, look, as a fan, that's like a preseason game to us for treating it as.
Oh, hell no. You treat it like a preseason game. We'll see what happens.
I mean, again, the Chargers do look good on paper. They picked up another bookend. They still have their quarterback, who I hope took the time out he needed this offseason to get healthy, because he finished last season with his hand was hurt. I think he had a shoulder problem that bothered him a little bit.
Freaking Max Crosby's face mask.
Oh, man. Well, who told you to put your hand in Max?
Who told Max Crosby to get a weird funneling face mask?
That's
shout out to his sobriety.
That's a penalty on
Herbert's face mask.
Duh. But I mean, they also picked up. You guys got 2 great running backs that you guys just picked up.
Okay.
And drafted. When I say great, together, not like, hey, you guys got these 2 great running backs. How did you get 2 great running backs? No, they're great together.
We'll go over them. We'll do the Chargers. Hopefully, perfect start to the season next week.
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll see how these freaking guys get together, see how these OTAs and more camps are doing. Any shout outs?
Oh man, you know what? I did have some shout outs, but I kind of just went blank. Shout out to all my people who are right now serving in the military. Hopefully, uh, not any day soon. We'll have to celebrate Memorial Day in your honor. But to those who came before you guys, again, like you said in the beginning, who laid everything up on the line for us. Sorry about that. Uh, who uh, who were amazing and did a lot of stuff for us already. Who have gone on. Uh, Shout out to them, man, because you know I didn't. I definitely wasn't thinking about joining the military and going out and doing that stuff. And I'm not. I'm laughing. It's not a joke. I just, yeah. But a lot of people who aren't here with us today took up that mantle, and they did great. So I know Memorial Day was yesterday, but we should celebrate you guys every day, as a lot of us do. So that's great. Shout out to everybody out there doing that. And oh yeah, shout out to my nieces and nephews who will be graduating in the coming weeks,
Hey.
from high school, from college. All of you guys starting new chapters in life. Exciting. I know sometimes it seems like it's just a lot of things going on and no one really is like paying attention or rooting you guys on, but we are. So yeah, shout out to you guys and everybody else who has younger siblings, nieces, nephews, sons, daughters, graduating this graduation season. Shout out to all you guys, man. And yeah, and shout out to my dog over here, Sumo, who's been chasing there.
Uh,
Bro, there's like a what do you call a group of crows? Uh
dog versus crow. Let's go.
Yo,
Keep
they've
them
been
active.
flying around the house. No, yeah, so she's been chasing them, but they've also been like there's something around the house definitely that they're trying to protect. So every time one of us walk out the front door, we get like two of them flying towards our heads. No joke. It's been crazy.
Crows,
Like, yep, we're trying to walk to
uppercutting
the car.
blackbirds. Bah!
Hey man, I walk out with the I have a little like a what was I? I was something out of sheesh, The Purge, a couple
I
Halloweens
don't
ago,
know.
and I bought one of those.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
I bought one of those like makeshift axes that they have at Spirit. So every time I walk out to go to the car, I carry that with me. I swear to God, one of you crows, don't mess around. I don't mess around, man. We're smacking you with that foam thing. It's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. But yeah, shout out to Suma, who she's super protective. She's
Mhm.
been seeing that the last couple of days, so she's like on edge. She looks out the window the whole day to make sure like if one of us walk out,
Good
she's like
dog.
barking, yeah. And then now we're here in the backyard. She's literally rounded me the whole time I've been out here, like making sure
Protecting you.
none of these birds fly
Good
down.
dog.
So shout out to Suma. So because had it happened, all of you guys would have just been seeing the camera go up and down, me running into the house. So thank God that didn't happen.
Nice. Shout out to Suha and all the good dogs out there. Shout out to
Sir.
Chemo out there in Modesto.
Yeah.
Shout out to Merck, who's going to be back over here this weekend. It's freaking old dogs, man. Yeah, hell yeah. Y'all got some pups. Let's go.
Yeah. Shout out to Mike and his dog.
Man, what is his dog's name?
Is it
Is
Kita?
it Chemo?
Kita. Sorry, Mike.
They both
We're
have
failures.
they both have the same name. Wait, that's crazy.
No, I think his is Kita. Kida. I think that's what it is.
Coda.
I know you're looking it up right now. Coda.
Speaking of Modesto, shout out to Levasa Island Apparel, www.levasaislandapparel.com. Also, check them out on Instagram at le_vasa. If you like writing, check out the website. There's like a whole writing section where Eli posts different thoughts that he puts down, and he's always working with the pen.
Talented, brother. Talented.
And shout out to y'all. Shout out to Forrest with all the breakdowns for the Raiders and the Raiders camp. That's interesting to see if they're going to be able to spend that post June 2nd.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's
or
gonna
somebody.
Help. Right. I mean, they were able to give Max Crosby an additional $6 million. because he did restructure at first so that they could have money.
That was
And then they were able to have the money. They signed the people they needed to, and they were like, "Look, Max Crosby, you've been a great Raider. You know
that's
what I mean?
crazy.
Yeah." And we're like, "We're gonna give you $6 million back. So here's $6 million. That's yours." That's dope.
Usually, if they're reworking some money and moving some money up, they add like a year on the back. You know,
Right, right,
there's
right,
something where we'll give you this, but you give us something else, something,
right,
another year
right.
that they can use to negotiate. This was a straight up bonus raise. This was
Yep,
for Max Crosby being like the heart and soul of that team, showing up early, leaving late, always on the field, giving
yep.
that vibe, that persona. That's exactly what Antonio Pierce wants. And they were able to just give him a freaking raise for being such a good example. So yeah.
That's what the Raiders
Shout
do,
out to
man.
freaking sobriety. Shout out to Max Crosby.
Amen.
Shout out to Triangle Face Masks. Get them out of here. And yeah, we're out. That's our episode for this week. Yeah, definitely tap in on the YouTube page, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, at Ballinesian on all the socials. Yeah, follow us, subscribe, rate 5 stars, all that help us spread and grow. For Forrest, I'm Lance. Thank you guys for tapping in. Have a great start to the summer. Stay hydrated, stay blessed, stay balling. Love and light. Peace.